Howdy folks, LP Guru here signing in for Let's Play Final Fantasy 1 Episode 12. As always, I'll be picking up where the previous episode ended. And when going back and reviewing the previous episode recording, I realized that I did not show off one of the other locations before even going into the Terra Cavern. So I will go and do so right now. Gotta let all the enemies have their turn. Take my chance with Dia 2. It should be enough to take them out. I think they're relatively weak compared to the newer undead creatures we've been running into, and yeah, they are. So good. So yeah, instead of heading south, right here to go to the Terra Cavern, we're going to keep heading west to right there to that cave. If I'm not mistaken, there's a little bit of a story element there that kind of gives a little more insight as to why we're going to the Terra Cavern. If I can talk. I don't think it's like super important content, but at the same time it's still nice to know what we're looking for and why we're going to the Terra Cavern to begin with. So that was my bad for forgetting. I honestly did, I straight up forgot. Straight up forgot. Yeah, that's all he has to say. So you cannot progress any further to continue the story until you have acquired certain items from the Terra Cavern. So, like I say, for some reason I thought there was much more story-driven and detailed content, but obviously, as just witnessed, that is not the case, so there was really nothing of of real importance that was missed when I forgot to show it in the previous episode, but it's been shown. Now, if I am remembering correct, I want to say it's a ruby. It's some type of gem that we're looking for in the Terra Cavern, and that will be given to I know the cave we were just in was called Titan's Cave, but... or Titan's Cave. I don't know if I really just over-enunciated that word or not. It sounded kind of weird when I first said it, but yeah, Titan's Cave was the name of that cave, but... I think the creature is called a golem. Or golem. Yet another word that I have heard pronounced different ways. Alright. So back in the Terra Cavern. Make sure we're good on health. Looks like we are. So once you're back in here, head due south. I'm gonna try to make my way back around this path. I won't go all the way back around because I think it's just a normal path that we traveled the northern half of in the previous episode, but I just want to make sure there's not another tunnel off to the side or a door somewhere. I don't want to take the chance of missing anything. I don't think that will be the case, but just in case, I'm gonna check it out. And since we're back into the territory of getting into a fight with pretty much every step that is taken, I think it's safe to say that we're getting back into some somewhat familiar territory. Can't get over how hard these things hit. And that's with Sabin having a silver armlet equipped. I don't even want to begin to imagine the kind of damage that would be done if any weaker armor were equipped instead. So yes, another relatively straightforward fight. It does require a little bit of magic, but nothing too out of the ordinary. Go ahead and heal everybody up. Yeah, I think we're back to where we've already been to before, so after this fight I will turn back around and return from where I came. But if nothing else, this is a great area to get some really good experience. I think we were either still in the 4,000 experience range at the end of the previous episode or in the upper 3,000 range. And since then, yeah, you can definitely see just how much progress has been made. That's how I like to use magic. I love it when it can actually disperse damage to all the enemies. It helps the rest of the fight be somewhat of a breeze. Just can't get over how much gil is being brought in. Alrighty, after however many more fights we're going to be getting into, we are definitely going to be ready to take on the rest of this dungeon. It's just getting through all of these extra fights. And the really nice thing about leveling up is that the MP capacities always keep increasing. So sometimes there's certain levels that are reached that may not seem like they're really worth the level up, meaning it may not seem like a lot of new hit points were acquired. May not seem like the actual stats that were improved upon. Like if you really needed either the warrior or the monk to have their strength stat increase, if that stat doesn't increase with that level up, that's what I mean by it doesn't really seem like a worthwhile level up. But just always keep in mind that sometimes the greatest takeaway you can receive from leveling up is having the MP capacity increase them. Because in certain situations, being able to cast certain spells an extra time or two, it can be the difference between, having either certain characters wiped out or having a game over. Which obviously would not be good. I'm gonna chance this with fire too, see if anybody runs away or how many are taken out by it. Man, what a critical. 45 hit points of damage. I'm gonna try to give the Cure 2 spell a little bit of a break. I don't want to burn through it. Okay, so yeah, we have been that way. It's this way. I knew there was one more path I hadn't taken, but I had honestly thought that I had gone this way already. But I obviously had not. And that's another thing that's very effectively executed in this game. Some of the dungeons, their layout is very straightforward, but there's just enough twists and turns put in there to throw you off. Because this path is directly off of the main path, but there's so many different rooms that we have, explored and been to and everything, that it's easy to forget. Which path you've already explored and what you haven't, as just seen, as just witnessed. And at this point, the levels everyone's at, normally in the past, I would have opted to try to put everyone to sleep. But Vivi's intelligence stat is now high enough where even though enemies aren't necessarily being completely defeated by a single casting of Fire 2, enough damage is being distributed to all the enemies that a normal physical attack from pretty much any character is enough to finish them off. The only exception is, if your white mage happens to be the character that, that is attacking an ogre chieftain. But under normal circumstances, everybody else just bites the dust. Super easy. Now if only every fight could be led off by the warrior being the first to attack, that would really speed things up. This is definitely the first dungeon where alright, well everybody just run away, make this fight so much easier for me, please. But this is the first dungeon where the twists and turns really are taken to the next level compared to the Marsh Cave dungeon that was more of an open concept. This one you really have to pay attention to, you know, where you've come from. In some instances, certain paths are a straight shot. You know, there's no new tunnels that branch off of the path you are currently on, and those are, you know, super simple. You know, they tend to either a dead end with a room, or they lead to, you know, a staircase taking you to another level of the dungeon. But then others do have new tunnels and paths that branch off. So you just have to make sure that you are paying attention. And the coral sword, if I'm not mistaken, yes it is, it's effective against aquatic creatures. So it's a slight downgrade in attack power, but it would definitely come in handy when we are on the open sea and around or on any other types of water-based terrain. But since we are deep underground in a cave, not gonna do us much good here. So I'll simply stick to what I have equipped. Now one of these paths is going to lead straight to the boss fight. And when we get there, don't be surprised if you see me turn around and head the other way. Not because I'm scared, but because clearly there's more tunnels to explore. There's more to this dungeon to be investigated. And I won't be ready to take on the boss until everything has been explored. That's another very good general rule of thumb, is to not be too quick to take on a dungeon's boss, because it's not always guaranteed that you're going to find some type of equipment. Alright, so backtrack for now, because it's going to take us deeper into the dungeon, so backtracking really quick. But it's not always guaranteed that each dungeon is going to give you some type of equipment that the dungeon boss is going to be, you know, weak to, you know, give you an advantage in the boss fight. But there's also no guarantee that that isn't going to be the case either. So it's always a toss-up. So the best practice is to simply always be willing to fully investigate and explore a dungeon, because you never know. And yes, I speak from experience. There have been plenty of times where I have beaten the dungeon boss, and then on my way back out I decide to, you know, check out the rest of the dungeon, and then I come across something that would have made the boss fight. In that case, not so much a breeze, but it would have created an even playing field. It was the type of experience where I barely survived the boss fight, but had I had whatever the equipment was that I acquired after the boss fight, had I had that equipment during the boss fight, it would have really evened the odds. So yeah, it was definitely, a lesson learned the hard way to just be patient, to not be in a rush. It's okay to not, complete a dungeon, including defeating the dungeon's boss. It's okay to make multiple trips to the same dungeon. And there's no shame in being over-prepared. I try my best to not be too overpowered. And I even try my best to not be overpowered at all when it comes to any given boss fight. But sometimes it just can't be helped. It's not intended, but sometimes it still happens. And these types of fights, just, you don't want to waste magic, which is what I just did when I tested casting Ice 1. But you don't know what might be effective, what might deal additional damage. You don't know unless you're willing to test it. But yeah, that kind of fight is like you just need to try to have your black mage stick to physical attacks. But it's also one of those fights where you want each character to be effective in the fight, but that's the kind of fight where sometimes one of your characters is going to be the odd man out, and in that instance, it was our black mage. Everyone else had a purpose in the fight. Even our white mage is able to cast a protective spell, but our black mage couldn't be of any real use. Oh, wow, 5,000 gil. I will take it. As I've said before, I will never be mad at finding money. If only it could be that easy and let's try this one more time. If only it could be that easy in real life to find that kind of money. Yeah. Yeah, Rosa, I'm gonna need you to heal yourself, please. There we go. Yeah, taking Taking over 100 hit points of damage in a single hit is never fun. And you never really know where that Noma creature... I ain't back, come on now. But you never really know where that Noma creature is going to just pop up. Alright. Cursor, please cooperate. And do not try to have a mind of your own. And this is the first dungeon where it's like, it's so wrong on the game's part to tease you with the warp on spell, but not let you have access to it just yet. Okay, this is either a 3 or 4 floor dungeon, and as is being witnessed with each, with each new floor that we reach, the deeper we go in the dungeon, the tougher and more formidable the foes are becoming. So being able to simply warp, even if it's just warp to the previous floor, not completely warp out of the dungeon back to the overworld map, but still just being able to escape, to retreat to the previous floor without actually having to walk and continue to encounter, enemy after enemy, would be so nice right now. And that's one of the main reasons why I said what I did in the previous episode, that I have every intention of completing this dungeon in this episode, only having one more episode dedicated to this dungeon, but it's all these fights, and it's, the amount of MP, the amount of magic that is having to be used. That's always the main deciding factor. Like, you can have the best of intentions, you can, say to yourself, think to yourself before you go to any given dungeon, okay, I'm going to get this knocked out in one visit, or 2 visits, tops. You can have the best, the most positive, outlook and attitude that is humanly possible, but the main deciding factor is always going to be how much MP you have left, not only before the boss fight, but after the boss fight, because there's only a few dungeons where the story elements are so entwined with it that when certain bosses are defeated, that you are automatically taken back to town. Most dungeons and most dungeon boss fights result in, okay, great, you've successfully defeated the dungeon boss, but now you've got to literally make your own way back to the surface. Well, if you don't have enough MP to get back to this surface, then you could really be in a tight spot. You could find yourself having successfully completed the dungeon, but now facing the reality, the possibility of everyone being wiped out and having a game over, and then having everything to do over again since the last time you had saved. So it's just, that's why it's so imperative. It is so important to pay attention to your remaining MP. And yet another straightforward fight. Having to use a little bit of magic in order to thin out their numbers some. Fire 3 would be a bit excessive, though. It would more than likely have wiped all the enemies out in a single casting, but you also want to hang on to as much of your higher spell level MP as much as possible. Try not to burn through it too quickly. Alright, good. Another level up. Our warrior just had an increase in his intelligence stat, which is very much needed. Same with the monk, since they need as much help as they can get in the area of magic defense. Yeah, I was just about to say, it looks like we're back where we started. And we are, so I'm going to take a quick look at our MP levels. Yeah, we're still in good shape. I'm gonna try to explore as much of the dungeon as is possible. And if you just noticed, I had just started to sprint in the game and we got in a fight. And that's another factor with certain dungeons. Certain dungeons are set up where, and there's no way to know this ahead of time. You literally learn this in real time. But certain dungeons are set up where if you sprint, you run into monsters at a higher rate than you would if you were simply walking around. But like I just said, you have no way of knowing the nature of a dungeon in that regard until you are in each dungeon, so you can simply test that theory. by running instead of walking. But yes, you can simply test that theory by running instead of walking, and whichever method of walk speed, if you will, results in a more frequent enemy encounter rate. That is how you know. That is how you know what type of a dungeon you're in. And then you just have to keep in mind, keep that in mind. Remember that. And you can use that to your advantage. Or, if you are trying to level grind, if you know which method results in a more frequent enemy encounter, then instead of avoiding and doing the opposite, just do that. And you will get in fights on a much more frequent basis. And try my best to not go against my better judgment. And by that I mean I'm weighing out the pros and cons for the amount of remaining time in the episode. There's still a good bit of time, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to allow us to fully explore everything, but I will do my best. I'm also trying not to allow the 1 hour mark to be the deciding factor for when an episode ends. I'm perfectly fine if any given episode is longer than an hour. But so far, with all the recordings, it has always been either me almost running out of MP or completely running out of MP. That has always been my main deciding factor in the past in regards to when I head back to town, rest up, save progress. Y'all know the song and dance by now. But right now, this is the first, for instance, where I'm not dangerously low on MP. So I can. Let's wait and see if that was a trigger fight, and it is. So yes, I'm going to keep on exploring. But just know that if I were to suddenly turn back and start heading in the direction of the surface, if I don't verbally say it, it's because remaining MP has dropped to a level that I do not consider safe or wise to continue exploring. And I say that right now, but it applies in every regard. Moving forward in the future too. If I were to not say something, it's simply because I forgot to verbally mention it. But the reason I just stated is the reason why. And yes, I believe that the Wraith creature is also capable of inflicting darkness, so I was waiting that out with bated breath to see if anyone would be inflicted with blind. And oh look! Pisco demons! I had honestly forgotten they were here too. So yes, an old boss fight monster is making its return as a random encounter. And yeah, this tends to be the case. The lower you go in a dungeon, the higher the trigger encounters tend to become. Now that was a good hit, and that was not even a critical hit either. That did 99 hit points of damage to the warrior, so that's just testament to just how powerful that creature is. Oh, and look, more money, yeah. If I remember correctly, to the left is the boss fight. So I'm going to head to the right. Instead, yeah, they're worth Fire 3. So I was having to debate Whichever one. This is going to be Dia 3 who wins this contest. So, they did. Again. And just when I thought that all the sprawling areas have been discovered and explored, get to this area. Okay, no, I want to help our white mage out. Conserve some MP, and there you go. Really, all but one. All but one? I will. I'll take it. So, maybe I was wrong. Maybe the boss fight is the other way. I don't know. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't know. But I do know that that hurt. And that was not nice. You shouldn't hit a lady, dude. Really. As no one brought you into the proper centuries etiquette. Has no one been kind enough to educate you that hitting a lady is highly, highly frowned upon? And really, this is a repeat. This has got to be a joke. Another measly potion. Alright, we're still in good shape though. Still in good shape. Well, hello there. What might you be? I don't even know how you would pronounce that. What is that? Ochre? Ochre? I'm gonna chance it with just physical attacks to see what they may be weak against. And good, okay. I don't want to unnecessarily waste magic. That deal, like, you know, next to no damage. So I'm glad to see that that risk has paid off in our favor. But yeah, Ochre? Ochre? That, like, you know, the very old spelling of theater? Is the R really, you know, pronounced at the end of the name? I really don't know. But it doesn't really matter because they're all dead. We're still good on remaining MP. But the main thing to keep in mind is to not get turned around. To not get turned around, because that would definitely be my undoing right now. We're not dangerously low on MP, but at the same time, we can't afford to get turned around and get an extra fights. Okay. I get the picture. You got some kind of beef with my monk. I don't necessarily understand what that might be, but I hear you loud and clear. But it's definitely these times where a lot of hit points have been lost. There we go. That you need to use Cure 3, but you also have to be very careful because Life 1 is on the same spell level. As Cure 3. Okay, no wonder it didn't select the spell because there was nothing there. Their cursor went crazy. Alright, back to somewhat familiar territory. I do believe that this is the final path that leads to the boss. I don't think there's any other paths or twists and turns that branch off of the path we are currently on, which is really what I'm hoping for, yeah. But I think that stone slab that was at the, well, I hope the recording showed it at the bottom of the screen. I could see it on my TV screen, but I'd also say that my TV screen is much larger in size compared to my computer screen. So I hope that it showed it. Otherwise, everyone will be like, "What in the world are you talking about, dude? You're seeing things." It's like, no, I'm not. I just explained my setup and my situation, so I'm not going crazy. Not completely. Not yet, at least. Or I don't think I am. Who knows anymore? Like, no, I still want to save as much magic as possible for our white mage. Thankfully, I do believe everything that has been encountered in the Terra Cavern can be, like, decently damaged by physical attacks. So if it were to ever come down to it, you would be better off using as much magic from your black mage. Let your black mage carry you in fights and reserve your white mage's magic for healing and restoring. I can say that with certainty for this dungeon. Even when you run into undead creatures, this is probably gonna be a trigger fight. Let's see. It's either gonna be a trigger fight or when I open the chest. Let's see. Trigger fight. Oh lordy. Good grief. Don't even tell me. I don't even know, seriously, everyone, I don't know what I'm going to do if I get another potion. If this treasure chest gives me a potion, I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll take it. I'll take it. That is better than a potion any day of the week. I'm always trying to keep hit points in mind, always being mindful. Wait, no. No. Mr. Black Mage, I need you to cast magic. For some reason I thought I had the White Mage selected, and I almost messed up. We're very close to a level up. And right now I really am having to decide if I want to chance taking on this boss fight. Or if I'm going to decide to and not push my luck. But I'm not even going to say anything about this boss fight like I have in the past, because I've so far the game has had a perfect score of proving me wrong. Every single time I have talked about a boss fight ahead of time. Let's do it. Let's do it. I have yet to do it. But I'm going to throw caution to the wind for once. We're gonna do this thing. Come on. Bring it. Yeah, you talk too much. Come on. I was hoping it wouldn't play out that way. But it did. But at the same time, I really had no guarantee. I really had no guarantee whatsoever. Star Ruby was its name. I thought it was a ruby. I really shouldn't second guess myself like I do at times. So now that the vampire has been defeated, and the Star Ruby has been acquired, we can take the Star Ruby to the Titan / Golem, whichever one he really is. I think the person that we're looking for, his name is either Sada or Sada. There's 2 D's in their name, so pronunciation is determined by not only the amount of letters, certain letters in the name, but where they are placed. That always dictates the pronunciation and enunciation of a word, of a name. But in the older, well, not just older Final Fantasy games, older RPGs overall, they had a lot of unique names, and especially, how they would spell the names, but voice acting. The voice acting technology would not exist for at least a decade later, after the game first came out. But by that point, these games are so old, the names that are in these older games were no longer a common name in present day games. They were no longer resurfacing for whatever reason. So we got to the point of you just really never knew how a name was pronounced. So most of the time that would result in people taking to the internet and doing some basic research trying to figure it out that way. Still no guarantee you were going to pronounce the name correctly, but most of the time it would give you a little bit better of an idea. So yes, now we're having to backtrack to the surface. And before I do anything else, I'm heading back to town. Heading back to town to rest up and save progress. And I do believe this will be the longest episode yet. But if I'm being completely honest with everyone, my intentions have always been for each episode to be at least an hour long. But as I'm sure for all of my returning viewers and definitely my subscribers, you can tell that there hasn't been enough content in the game yet. Each dungeon that has been explored has been just a little too short to meet that criteria. Or if it wasn't too short, there's just certain things that would happen that would make me have to, return to town, that whole song and dance, a little earlier than I wanted to, such as running out of MP or almost running out of MP, that kind of thing, but not being right there at the boss fight, still having a good bit of the dungeon to explore and everything. That's one of the main reasons why I just went for it with this boss fight, because it was rare in multiple regards, but one of those regards being I had already completely explored the dungeon and there was nothing left to do but take on the boss. And I knew it would be extremely silly to be right there at the boss and not take a chance. It's always interesting to see. Okay, come on now. Oh, come on. Really? Okay, good. Good. I was about to say I only have 2 more uses. Well, really only 1 more use if Fire 2 had that been cast first. Not that really. But Sabin stepped up and in a big way. And here, we're going to be returning the favor to our Black Mage, since this is really the only kind of enemy formation that the White Mage can. Oh, really? Really? You're just gonna show me up. Thanks, game. Thank you so much. Oh, and thanks again. This is definitely one of those annoyance factors. Thankfully, there's no direct threat. They're not dealing enough damage. But it's definitely annoying beyond words. Alright, come on. Come on now. I don't mind taking damage, just don't paralyze me again, please. Because that I do mind. Alright, let's see. Nope. Wrong one. There we go. There we go. Why couldn't that have not happened the first time? We're almost back. But yes, under normal circumstances. Okay, well, it's the first time for everything. But under normal circumstances, I would be continuing things. Continuing the story and any subsequent events. But having witnessed everything that you all have experienced, it should be very self-explanatory as to why I am going to save progress like I am. We've been through a lot. We are most definitely about to earn the break we're about to get, that we are about to receive. I don't think I've ever been so glad to get back to town. Wow, we're almost at 100,000 gil. I didn't even realize that. Alright, so in the very next episode, we're going to be continuing the story. And to be safe, I'm going to create a third save file. Just in case anything crazy were to happen. Just to be safe. As always, thank y'all so much for tuning in. And I will catch y'all in the next episode. LP Guru, signing out.